Listen, I'm hosting the show. I don't know what I'm doing. I think we're live right now. This is presented by Blue Moon, made brighter. Get Blue Moon delivered and see delivery options by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO. Celebrate responsibly. Cody has a beer bat right now. I just woke up. My heart rate's 189 beats per minute right now. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Yeah. Cody, what just happened?
It's been 147 days, a very long 147 days since the last regular season game of the Chicago Cubs, Brennan. And finally, and that was for Corey because that's a Rock reference, Cody Bellinger has signed a contract, guys. Cody Bellinger signed it with the Chicago Cubs.
You know, I was literally falling asleep and my phone like buzzed and I see it's your name. I'm like, all right, like what's going on? Like Cody's been drinking too much or something. And it says it happened. And knowing you, I don't know what that means sometimes. I'm like, is it Bellinger? Is it going to be Bellinger? I go on Twitter. I see Jeff Passan. I'm like, is that the real Jeff Passan? I'm staring at that like $1.1 million number for like 5 minutes. I'm like, it actually happened. They actually signed Cody Bellinger. My ass is up. I'm doing this podcast with you. Here we are. What's going on?
Yeah. We at least did the presenting sponsor. We were supposed to do anything else, but it happened, man. It happened, and I can now finally start to project this team going into 2024.
We can do it.
It had to happen, and honestly, I haven't even processed the contract.
So what's the contract? 3 years for $80 million?
$80 million. 3 years, $80 million.
That's insane. So I see 3 years for $80 million, opt out after the first 2 years. It's basically, we got super chats coming in. By the way, guys, this is my first show I've ever produced. So I don't know how the hell to do this stuff. I got super chats over here. I think if I click it, it will go on. There we go. Dylan Poole, $5. Belly is back, and we are so back. Look, credit to me for hosting the show right now, putting all your comments stuff on this. And I'm like, I'm literally in a daze right now. So 3 years, $80 million. Opt out after the first 2 years, essentially, basically a 1 year deal, kind of like one of those like Pillow 2.0 contracts. And we have our center fielder, maybe first baseman back on this team. Unbelievable.
Evan in the chat, he uses another wrestling reference. Cody, we finished the story. Or no, that was Nate. Nate, we finished the story. Yes. Yeah. We finished the story. I honestly, like, I was finally starting to lose hope like everyone else, like the last handful
of days. Just numb to it. That's what I was.
I was losing hope. I was numb to it. I can't believe it happened at 2 a.m. or whatever, like Central Time. I guess I'm happy that I'm in Mountain Time zone, so it's not even 1 a.m. But it's unreal. I can't believe that this news just broke.
Credit to Lisa for calling it. Yeah. Lisa is the one who manifested this. Cody, you went out to Arizona to ensure that this would happen. Yeah, and now we have our center fielder.
The insurance of it happening.
I think what's going to happen is you can't go back to Chicago. See, when you come out to the West Coast, although last time you came out to the West Coast, it didn't end too well for us. But you know what? You completely resurrected yourself. You are now allowed back on the West Coast after you demolished our 2023 season. So congratulations. Thank you for redeeming yourself and the Chicago Cubs.
Oh, man. It feels good. It feels good to be back. Oh, man. We got 212 people in the live watching us right now. Majority of these people, I'm assuming, are,
listen,
in the Central Time zone, like it's 2-3 in the morning probably. So this is incredible stuff.
Where do we start here? So we have Bellinger officially back.
Yeah.
My first thought goes to is he going to get time in center field, time at first base? We've seen Bush perhaps have an injury, not throwing baseballs around the diamond recently. That's where my thought goes. Is he going to get the first reps at first base or kind of get the first reps in center field?
Right. I think at this point, I think Bellinger is going straight to center field. Um,
How
and
good does it feel to say that? I know, I know. Maybe we should
it feels great, like
Oh
it
my
feels great
God.
that Bellinger is going. Like I think he's gonna, start opening day in center field, and
Yeah.
then I think he will at some point move to first. Like this is what I believe the entire time, that he's gonna start opening day in center field. PCA is gonna probably start in Iowa. And Bush is going to get that opportunity at first as well. But even whenever PCA comes up, they can move Bush to DH. They can put Bellinger at first, and then
Yeah.
obviously he has experience playing corner outfield anyway. So I just think this DH spot can be really utilized by the Cubs, whether it's with Ian Happ or with Seiya Suzuki, whatever. To me, it doesn't matter. This lineup now, Bellinger, Seiya, Morel, with Seiya and Morel, like in my opinion, primed to like take big steps in 2024. You add Bellinger with that, who's going to, as great as his contract is for the Cubs, I mean, Bellinger is still going to be playing to make more money because I think he can opt out after this year. Like, this is basically the Carlos Correa contract, which, credit to me, I predicted might actually happen as well back in like December.
You did.
All right.
You did.
And
you manifested all of this.
I did. And I'm not trying to take all the credit, but
you should. You should.
But either, like, I just think the Cubs are going to be in a very unique situation where they can just play guys wherever they want. They have guys who can play multiple positions. I feel like this is like what they've always wanted. They've been trying to find so many Ben Zobrist likes for so long, but like these are actually good baseball players that they can do this with, proven good baseball players. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
I think that Bellinger is just going to add more versatility to this team defensively, and then offensively. I mean, with Craig Counsell as the manager, to me, you're putting Bellinger in that 2 or 3 hole on opening day, and just and go with the rest after him, like or whatever. Like to me, you finally got the guy that at least has proven throughout his career for the most part that he's been able to do that. So again, I think Bellinger has a lot to play for here. He clearly took this contract because he got tired of waiting at this point. But we're at a point now where it's like we can really start to think about some real success in 2024. I know that there's still like a lot of questions, and I can understand some people who are still questioning because it's like we did kind of talk ourselves into the thought of like it's Bellinger or bust. But
I mean, it sure felt like it.
Right. But the team is still significantly better with Bellinger on the team compared to not.
Your phone's blowing up over there. We got dings left and right. The entire city of Chicago is waking up right now to look at your face, my face. I got wrinkles under my eyes. I just woke up. I had a pillow face and everything. And here we are. So the details of the contract, again, we keep getting people asking this. 3 years, $80 million, opt out after the first year, opt out after the second year. And I think that's what it was, unless I'm just like daydreaming this at this point. We've also had 2 different comments. Pretty funny. This is the same dates 8 years ago when the Cubs brought back Dexter Fowler 8 years ago from this day. And you know what happened? That preceded, people forget about this, a World Series championship, the 2016 Chicago Cubs. So, you know what's going to have to happen? Cody Bellinger, 7:30 in the morning tomorrow, 7 hours from now. He has to stroll right in to the backfields. He's got to wear exactly the same thing that Dexter Fowler wore. And everyone has to give him a hug. That's how it's going to work. That's how it's going to work.
I expect nothing but hugs, and I expect Christopher Morel to at least give 10 times as many hugs as anyone else.
Oh man, we might get some tears being shed by like Christopher Morel. Let's get to some super chats over here. Again, Cody's phone's going crazy right now.
I gotta put my phone on do not disturb.
No, you can keep blasting it. If there's ever a time for celebratory phone rings, it's right now. Let's get to some super chats here. Again, it's my first time doing this this producing thing. So, I hope I don't get like fired by CHGO after messing this up over here. So we've got a super chat from Ryan Lambert. Jed with the "you up 1 a.m." text to Belly. Also, when's the Lisa interview happening?
We need to find Lisa. We
Listen,
need to find Lisa.
if you can find Lisa right now, I will get her on the show right now. I'm taking the reins of ALLCITY. Second super chat from Dylan Poole. Belly is back, and we are still back. I may have read that already. Guess what? You get a 2-for-1, Dylan Poole. Third one from Fernando Rodriguez. I'm on scene at Cody's bar. I like the number on this. Credit to us that are awake. Fernando again. Wake up, Barb and Stucky. Stucky is in deep REM sleep right now. Can't wake him up. We'll throw him off. We'll have to be out sick for 3 weeks if we do that. Another one is thank you both. I'm feeling vibes. Thank you, Fernando. So that's really where mine goes is are they done? Of course, you and I are excited about this, and we're going to revel in the immediate dopamine burst that we got. But it does make you think. Now I'm starting to think $80 million market sufficiently under expectations. What does this mean for the Matt Chapmans, the Montgomerys of the world? And all along, despite you and I, calling for some front office, let's call it pushes, if you will. At the end of the day, Jed may have actually played this right.
Yeah, I mean, we've all gone back and forth. I know me and you have texted about the front office and our frustrations. Hell, our Twitter space, the last Twitter space I did, me and you were yelling about.
That was depressing. Yeah, that was depressing. I felt awful about that. I'm like, oh, am I being too negative over here?
Right. I mean, I always feel awful after it too. Right. But this was always the kind of deal I felt like, especially if it went this far deep into the offseason, I felt like this was going to come down because it just looks like no other team was going to be interested. And like my theory about the fact that no other team was ever linked to this guy. No team. It felt like Boris was putting out these little tea leaves, like desperation of like, oh, the Phillies and the Blue Jays and almost every team at this point. And it's just
can't even name more than 3 teams off the top of your head right now.
But it was like for real though. Like you would feed it through John Heyman. Like, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. But that's what I believe. And I think a lot of people believe that, but like, it's just like no one fully ever believed it. And so like, does Jed deserve credit for getting this done? Yeah, because he got it done. Now I know it's not like significantly long-term, but all I know is that at least if he plays well this year and opts out, I know that at least we will have more answers about these young guys going into 2025 than I will going into 2024. So if this is a bridge to PCA next year, more so, fine. If this, like, hopefully, Owen Casey is like, you're ready to go with Owen Casey in 2025 for sure. Like, we're going to know a lot more about some of these young guys in 2025. And like that's been my whole thing about the whole Bellinger thing this time, man. Like, so to me, yes, Jed gets credit. He waited it out and he took a ton of flack. And you know what? Like, I've been holding back as much as I could because it's just
I could tell.
In most of the offseason that I've just been complaining about how slow it's been. Right?
We got Ryan Herrera in the chat over here. All right. I think I may have put him on the screen. I think people can see our guy Ryan over here. Ryan, I took over CHGO. I'm now the producer. So I've been putting up the comments, bringing everyone in. I think I'm doing a good job. How are you doing? Are you awake? I just woke up. Cody woke me up, and I'm doing a show. Did you just wake up as well?
Do you see my happy face?
I can't tell. You seem like you're kind of still in a daze right now. You got the hoodie on for people who are listening to this on Spotify. It looks as if I just disturbed you. Can I get a smile?
Well, it's not your fault.
Okay.
It's not your fault. I want to give 3 shout outs real quick. Shout out 1 to Blue Moon. We love Blue Moon around here. Yeah. Our friends over at Blue Moon for helping us out for spring training. Number 2, shout out to Lisa. She had it first. And number 3, to the people who agreed to the deal for doing it at 12:30 something at night.
Why aren't you writing your article? You should not be on the show right now. You should be.
I'm doing it right now.
All right. You need some graphs? I'll make you some graphs right now. I got all my program software up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to talk about Cody Bellinger's 337 expected weight on base average and why that's really not that big of a deal because of the max capacity for his power. I'm ready to go. What is it? It's midnight over here. And is it the same time in California as it is in Arizona? It's midnight over here.
It's 1 a.m.
Oh, so we're on a time difference. I didn't know that. Credit to you guys then. You're staying up later than I am.
Yeah.
Crazy. So then we were talking, Ryan, 1 year commitment, more or less, almost like a soft pillow. To me, that's like the ideal outcome because let's say Cody Bellinger does perform very well this year. Then if you want to extend him long term, now you have an additional year of validation that would give the front office more confidence in actually locking down a player with Cody Bellinger's previous volatile history.
I think that's the main thing is like when you, I hope no one was on the phone because I accidentally knocked the phone off the hook over here. When you're talking, we've been talking about all off season, what the years would be, right? What 6, 7, 8+ years, right? And you're doing that, but you're going off of one really good year. Don't get me wrong, really good year in 2023, but also off a couple of bad years, 2.5 years where it's like he was not what Cody Bellinger was 2019 and even previously. So you are giving a commitment if you're giving him a long-term contract based off 1 year after a couple of down years where he just didn't look like himself. I know injuries played a part in it for sure. Like that, you can't discount that, but you didn't know for sure what you're getting from Cody Bellinger. From what obviously Jeff Passan has put out there is that he has the opportunity to opt out after the first year, right? To re-enter free agency next year, maybe a better market for him, whatever it is, right? And as you said, on the Cubs side, like this is pretty ideal. You're getting your guy for 2024, right? Like the guy who we talked about all offseason was priority number one. I guess Shohei Ohtani was priority number one, right? If you could have got Shohei Ohtani, you're getting
this is a happy podcast.
Bellinger was the guy you went into is like, whatever else happens, like Cody Bellinger is your guy because you number one, just the way he performed last year was great. Like he was their best player offensively, one of their best players defensively. Like he was the guy they needed and the guy that fit in with this group, guy that fit in the clubhouse. He fit in the lineup. He fit in everywhere. So like again, in a way, it's like you want him back as the Cubs. If you're the Cubs, you want him back, but you're also at that point giving him a very large commitment based off 1 year, which again, he had great years prior, but you're coming off of more bad than good going into it. Now you're getting him for 1 year commitment, at least 1 year, where if he performs as he did last year, like you probably expect him to hit free agency again, but you are getting him for at least this year, this 2024, this year where you're trying to take the next step, right? Like you took a good step in 2023. Now you're trying to take an even bigger step. And that's why we kind of talked about like Cody Bellinger fit with this group, fit with this lineup, and just, he fit in the way they needed him to fit, and to get him back felt like a priority, especially once Ohtani went off the board. And now they have him back. But at this point, you're not looking at it as a long-term commitment. You're not looking at it as a, what does this look like 5-6 years down the road from now? You may only be looking at it 1 year, and you may have to do this whole cycle over again next year, but you know for sure now that you're getting him and what he could provide for you, at least for 2024, and be that guy, that anchor in the lineup, middle of the order guy that should help you take that next step.
Have you seen Cody smile this much since he's been in Arizona? Look at Cody's face right now. He's glowing.
He's so red.
Are you sunburned actually, Cody?
I am, yeah.
Dude, what are you doing? Come on now. That's like rookie mistake number one. I know it's your first time in Arizona, like for spring training, but come on, put some sunscreen on. That's a mistake I would make.
Ryan is also, he is Hispanic. We just don't.
I'm Mexican. Yes.
Mexican, whatever. Like,
well, I mean, I'm Hispanic technically, but like, if you want to get deeper into it, I'm Mexican.
Okay. I'm half Filipino. Like, we just don't, man. Like, yeah. But
I got the worst
half,
sunburn.
I probably should put some on more than I do.
1 year when I was in college in Arizona, I did not wear sunscreen. I had the worst sunburn in my entire life. I'll put up a photo of it one day. I had these wicked tan lines for 1 straight year because of going to a Cubs spring training game. Really bad. But let's get to some super chats and we'll come back and we'll talk about maybe some of the implications of this deal. So we have a super chat from Kevin Larson. You have to see it to believe it. Look at that. The Cubs should hire you, Kevin, for their marketing. Second one here from Evan Miller. Great last name. Some say the best last name in the world. Cubs plus 2,800 to win World Series still. ... Thanks. Evan, listen. Happy times over here. Happy times. But really, it does kind of change how the remaining free agent crop is projected. I'm starting to think, what does this mean for Matt Chapman? Maybe we've heard expectations of a 4-year deal, 5-year deal, but with Cody Bellinger now only getting 3 years guaranteed in these opt-outs, does Matt Chapman also go down that route and accept maybe a 1-year deal with an opt-out? Or does he take maybe more money for a shorter AAV in the form of a 3-4 year deal? I'm starting to think all of those rumors and all of the ideas that Chapman could be gotten for, 3 years, 22 million annual average value actually might be realistic now, Cody.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Chapman, 1-2 year deal, I'm willing to do the same kind of deal that Bellinger did with Chapman, because then he'll give him even more motivation to go out there and try and get a better deal next winter, right? I think adding Chapman or Montgomery is still a possibility. I've seen some people in the chat, asking that question. I think, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong. Are they still under? Could they still add on? I don't know.
$10 million underneath.
Those aren't like a mutually exclusive, I think is the right way. But they even if they're not under, they can still add on.
Well, yeah, they can, but based off what Tom said and whatever.
10 years under the expectations from MLB COTS for that first year of luxury tax. So
sure.
$10 million.
Okay. Well, they would go over the luxury tax, right? So, we'll see. I think it would be I personally would rather have Montgomery over Chapman if you force me to choose one of the two. But hell, I think adding either one of them would be beneficial if you get them on a really short, especially Chapman specifically. If you get him on a shorter term deal with more motivation to go into next year for a better deal, to get a better deal next offseason, then I'm totally into it. So. At the same time, maybe the Blue Jays are thinking along the same line as the Cubs were when it came to him too, So this is also opening up the doors, I think, for other teams to get involved with some of these other guys. Or is that just me overthinking it?
That's you trying to dampen your expectations. Let yourself believe. We have someone say, see it to believe it. Let yourself believe.
Lulu is high tonight, guys.
Listen, if I get Matt Chapman on a similar contract as a Cody Bellinger contract, I may fly to Chicago. I may go personally shake Tom Merkett's hand and Jed Hoyer's hand, despite me talking down on them for the past 3 months. Can you imagine a Matt Chapman to Nico Horner to Cody Bellinger double play with Dansby Swanson, turning around to the outfield going too? That'd be the best infield I've ever seen in my entire life. So I do think that it is a possibility, but I'm curious, Ryan, from talking to the coaches and talking to a lot of the players, do you think, given what you've heard, that pitching would be more of a priority? And if they are limited by remaining payroll, would they rather opt for Montgomery or a shorter deal like Chapman?
That's, so from what, Jed talked about, actually said at the, Cubs convention, I think he kind of stood the same at his opening press conference, where starting pitching kind of set at this point. If it kind of felt like if a deal were to fall into their lap kind of thing that they could jump on, they would, but not that they were out, searching for starting pitching anymore. They got a penciled in starting 4 right now, a few options for the 5th spot, and some depth in the minor leagues coming up. So it didn't feel like they're going for a starting pitcher. Again, say, hey, if Jordan Montgomery is willing to sign a 1-year contract, like I would
How about
look
both?
at that. I'm the
How about you
Cubs,
just sign both?
Hey, okay, so back to Cody's question earlier, real quick, that I'm looking at, Fangraphs roster resource, and whoever's working at Fangraphs is quick. They already got Cody Bellinger's numbers in there, so it looks like the estimated payroll, luxury tax payroll at least, from Fangraphs roster resource is like a little under 3 million away from the first luxury tax threshold. So obviously adding anyone else would put them over that, but that it never felt like, as much as anyone wants to disagree with me, it never felt like the luxury tax was really we're not going over the luxury tax this year. We're staying under the tax. Well, that never felt like the message from the Cubs. It just felt like we're willing to do this as long as the deals we make sense, as long as the deals we make make sense for now and for the future, for our long-term financial flexibility, roster, whatever it is. So if what Fangraphs roster resource has is correct, they're at $3 million under. I totally see a scenario where they go over that. If it happens. Again, I don't know that if we're talking about starting pitching, I don't know if they're going to go out and get Jordan Montgomery on a 6, 7, 8-year deal, right? If that's what he's still craving. But I don't know, right? Like you mentioned, between like a Matt Chapman or Jordan Montgomery type. We just saw what Cody Bellinger signed for. I have no idea what these deals are going to look like once those guys are finally signed. But if they're anywhere close to what kind of deal that Cody Bellinger has reportedly signed, I wouldn't rule it out, on either side.
Going into the offseason, we had projections, just the average amount for Chapman, 4 years, around 80 million. Some projections had Bellinger at 6 years, 7 years for 150 to 170. Obviously, you have now Bellinger off the market, a Chicago Cub, by the way, Cody Bellinger, for $80 million. That means in my head right now, I'm just dividing by 2. So if I divide 80 million by 2, I get 40 million to Matt Chapman. I think, let's call it even, 2 years, $40 million, a 3rd-year option for $25 million. And let's get Chapman and Bellinger in Mesa tomorrow. And you know what? Credit for me for orchestrating this deal right now. And I hope Scott Boras can see this and sign it right there, right now. But like you, I see the 3 million threshold away from that first year as not prohibitive. I think really the prohibitive moves would be going and inching towards that very top echelon at 277 million, which right now that would be about 45 to 50 million away from even reaching that point. So if they go out and do sign Matt Chapman or Montgomery for 25-ish or so million, they're still substantially below that 3rd-year rate, which if you were to go over that 3rd-year echelon, then you would then forfeit some draft pick capital and draft pick spots for the upcoming draft. So I think that's going to be the ultimate threshold, and they still have room to go. And we had a super chat right now. Let me scroll down and get this from Dylan Poole again. And he asked, what names do each of you guys think are the ones to watch for the jump to regular playing time? Also, is Shaw a realistic option for this year? I'll throw it to you, Cody, first. What do you think Matt Shaw regular playing time expectations off the bat?
Well, with this Chapman discussion that we're now having, it's shifting the chat to be a little negative because
this is a happy time.
I agree. It is. I think, and the reason being is so many people want to see Morel play third. And the thing is that Matt Chapman is an elite defensive third baseman. And to me, the offense, if people are going to say that Bellinger was a must have, like you absolutely had to have him,
Yeah.
Well, you can look at his baseball savant and then look at Matt Chapman's baseball savant page, and they're different. You know what I mean? And Matt Chapman's is actually more pro for him. Like, it says that he was unlucky mostly, right? And so, like, I think that there's still offense in Matt Chapman's bat. Now, is it going to be better than Christopher Morel's? I doubt it. But I also think he's a better defensive player than Christopher Morel. The point that I'm saying this for, though, is that if they did sign Matt Chapman, then that definitely probably puts Morel, back into this whole, like, are you playing, all around the field? Are you mainly playing DH? And then it puts you in a situation of, okay, when you do call PCA up, is Michael Busch playing well? If he is, you got to keep him in the lineup. But if PCA gets called up and you want to give him that opportunity, like, you get where I'm getting at here. You're going to have to. So I guess this brings me to my second point too, is that, like, the Cubs can make a trade, like, they can make a trade. And
is Cody trying to get rid of all the young players again? Barb's not going to be having it.
Yeah.
Barb's going to watch this and say that. All right. But what I think the thing is, though, and Luke has said this many times, he's a wise man. He's a very wise old man.
Old sleeping wise man right now. Yeah.
Yep.
You need good baseball players, right? And Matt Chapman has proven to be a good baseball player over time. And again, it's not like you're going to be signing them to, like, some 5-year, 6, 7-year deal. It's like it would be similar to Cody Bellinger's of 1, 2 years, maybe 3, like the one that you basically suggested, Brennan. And, like, I'm open to that. Like, $20 million AAV is nothing compared to, like, what all the, like, top 10, top 20 players in the league are making. I'm willing to see that out. And hopefully in that time that he is here, he also is being a bridge to, like, Matt Shaw being the third baseman one day, or maybe they develop someone else. Maybe it's Triantos in time. I don't know. It depends on who they move. You know what I mean? Like, they just have so many prospects. This has been a thing for so long that, like, I don't know where all of them, like, are going to play. Like, I was doing a TikTok live earlier tonight, and people were asking me about Brennan Davis. And, like, I'm like, I don't know where this guy's going to play. Like, it's just 2 spring training games, and I hope he's good, and I hope he stays healthy, and, like, all these things. But I don't know where he's going to play. There's no room for him on this roster. And now that they signed Cody Bellinger, there definitely isn't any room on this roster unless you're DHing him. But then that's going to take at bats away from other young guys too. So it's like, I don't know. So that's the one thing, if they did sign Matt Chapman, that makes me wonder, like, okay, there has to be a corresponding move after that, or else they really will legitimately be blocking certain dudes that I'm pretty sure they're high on. So I guess for me, that's the Shaw thing. Like, they've been playing at second base mostly in these first 2 games. So, like, I don't know, but injuries happen. The fact that they're playing him in these first 2 games, it tells me that, they're trying to get him some playing time out there, get some experience, and try and prove himself. So I wouldn't rule it out. I don't think he's going to be on the opening day roster. That's for sure.
No, that would be, insane. I do think once you start having success in AA, then the timeline shrinks to within the year. So if Shaw performs very well to start the year, and if there's, God forbid, greater injuries or roster problems that we're not thinking about right now, and he's performing, then the Cubs in this front office and guys in this front office have had the experience promoting guys pretty fast. Nico Horner in 2019 got promoted pretty fast. To all of our surprise, Kyle Schwarber in 2015 was promoted just before the All-Star break in Cleveland, and they've had the propensity to make fast moves if guys are performing well in AA, and they just bypass them to that level. What you describe with the high volume of prospects, talking about James Triantos and talking about, Shaw and having to get Morel playing time and Busch playing time and PCA playing time, I think my mind instantly goes back to November and December. And if the remaining free agents were signing with a sense of urgency back in December and January, then I would actually expect the Cubs to be top candidates for someone like Matt Chapman. But because, to your point, we're only a few weeks away from opening day, I think when you start looking at the projections, for example, Christopher Morel has a 330 weighted on base average right now, projection by Zips. And you look at Matt Chapman at 340. Now, Chapman is the staple and the likely one to reach that projection, but then you start looking at, okay, what are the range of possibilities? And the range of possibilities for Morel do overlap that of Chapman. And if you were to acquire Chapman, then you would want to maximize the value of someone like Morel through trade, but that may not be possible right now. So I think they're probably more inclined to keep it as is from a positional point of view and go with maybe devoting that money to an upfront contract like Snell if his value drops, or even going out and getting Montgomery if his value drops. But I'm still here for Matt Chapman. I still think that's my preference, even though I understand that right now it's challenging maximizing the value from a positional point of view. My perspective is 2025 is difficult to project. We have a chance to win the division right now. Lock in as many wins as you possibly can on a shortened window. If that means risking some of the development for these certain players, I'm okay risking that development. And in fact, with Kirk Counsell on the team, I actually feel better about their development going forward with acquiring veterans like those.
That's fair too. Yeah, I mean, again, like I want to feel good about the roster going into 2024. And if you add Montgomery or Chapman with Bellinger, I think in the short term, you definitely feel good about this team, as not only defensively, but, you know, offensively too. Yeah, there's a lot to like with both of them. Like we really did talk ourselves into like belly or bust, right? But
I mean, I think
with the way that this move that Bellinger just happened, you know, like I don't see Chapman getting a better deal than that. So
I mean, we got Ryan turning his lights on at 1 a.m. because of Cody Bellinger over here. Credit to you, Ryan, for turning your lights on.
You guys are getting greedy over there. You guys are getting greedy.
I'm rationalizing this out. I just said it probably makes more sense from the front office point of view to not sign Matt Chapman, even though I would sign him to a contract right now if I had his phone number. So am I greedy or realistic? I think I'm being realistic.
No, I mean, I don't disagree with you. And again, it just depends on what those asks still are, whether Bellinger's contract changes that or not. Who knows, right? But hold on, someone said that so Victor said Ryan needs a Zin. No, I need a Blue Moon. That's what I need. I need a Blue Moon.
Ryan, have you ever dipped before? Have you ever put like a little dip in your mouth?
No.
Oh, you're missing out, my man. See, that's how I know you didn't grow up playing baseball as the way you should. You should have been dipping by the time you were 14 years old. You should have been throwing up on the backfields by the time you were 14 years old.
Yeah, I'm younger than you, Brendan. By that time, Big League Chew was around, and that's what we had.
Listen, I had Big League Chew as well. I used to wrap that tobacco in the Big League Chew. This is what you guys don't know. You know, growing up in the backfields of Arizona, vomiting on the backfields from Big League Chew. That's how I grew up.
I'm glad it didn't stop you from. Didn't kill your brain and because I don't know what.
No, my brain is already fried enough from other things, so that had hardly an effect.
We have 400 people live at what 3 or 2:20 a.m.
Yeah, you're all a bunch of psychos. That's the problem. This is why Tom Ricketts will spend money, because they have idiots like people in the chat and you and I talking about the Cubs at 3 a.m. Tom Ricketts is going to be screenshotting this and be like, this is what I'm talking about. These are my people. This is my demographic. This is why we're not going to spend money.
Yeah. That's why Godfather is not here.
He needs his sleep. You know, he's got a lot of catching up to do tomorrow morning. He's a lot of rationalization to do.
Brendan, I have been told that we need to thank our friends over at Blue Moon. A quick ad read to thank our friends over at Blue Moon.
All right. Well, by the way, Blue Moon, love Blue Moon. I presented Blue Moon to start this show off. I wish I had Blue Moon right now. I wish I had Cody's 8 cases of Blue Moons Cody, I guess, stole like 10 cases of Blue Moon from the studio. I wish I had a case myself over here. We are presented by Blue Moon. made brighter. Get Blue Moon delivered and see delivery options by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Look at that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Blue Moon, for presenting this and allowing us to go on the air at 3:00 in the morning in Chicago.
Oh yeah,
Ryan's updates that he's been doing, the video updates, all presented by Blue Moon.
All presented by Blue Moon.
And also,
spring training coverage is presented by Blue Moon.
Yes,
we love it.
I used this moment so I could just emphasize how I was able to hold the camera very still for Ryan today.
I was really
while I had many Blue Moons in my system.
I was really impressed by that. There's a 0% chance I can hold a camera still after having as many Blue Moons as you have.
Yes.
So
responsibly. It's always responsibly though.
You know, when I was in the studio back in May, I think I had too many beers on that set. You know, I was thinking about them. Like, you know, I probably should have said some things I said when I was live in studio. I'll have to rectify that when I come out this summer. When we have Blue Moon beer bets, by the way, that's going to be a challenge. Do you have a beer bet right now? People are asking about that.
I know. The thing is I don't have any beer here in this hotel.
You drink all your Blue Moon. That's the issue.
All the Blue Moons are gone.
Yeah.
We didn't restock. We were too busy just having a lot of fun drinking Blue Moons. And
do you think they'll let me bring the beer bat into the park tomorrow, Ryan?
I don't know. I just
want to spend $40 again for a beer bat.
That's a Sloan Park security question. I can't tell you.
A little story time for you. Back before they had the metal detectors, you know, Ryan, this is like back when you were in elementary school, when Cody and I were probably in college. No metal detectors at Chase Field. Used to sneak those beer bottles right in my pants, walk straight through. That's how you save the $12. A lot of memories at that Chase Field. A lot of bad memories too, unfortunately, including last year.
Well, what I was going to say though is that like I was going out tomorrow. I'll attempt to take the beer, like the bat, with me, and I'll just get it refilled at Sloan Park, and we'll do content. I'll have some random person I'll ask him to record me drinking this beer.
So you were in Scottsdale today, right, for the Giants game?
Yes, we were in Scottsdale today.
So first experience in Scottsdale, what'd you think?
The park was awesome. Yeah. I think it ranks right up there with Sloan Park. So yeah,
Scottsdale is one of my favorite parks. I also used to operate the video scoreboard out in Scottsdale. I told you this on Twitter, but 2015. I operated the video scoreboard. I worked a Sunday night baseball game. Sat next to John Miller in the booth. Basically, I'm watching the game, not updating the video board balls and strikes. Umpires furious with me. This is like an every 3 to 4 pitch thing. Sorry, couldn't pay attention. I'm watching Jake Arrieta pitch. Didn't get asked to come back next year, unfortunately. So I was more or less soft fired from operating a Major League Baseball video board. So, I guess I was always destined to talk with you guys at 3 a.m. about Cody Bellinger. But
this is definitely a night we'll never forget. Definitely. This is like, I remember the night John Lester signed. Like, this is one we're going to be talking about for years to come. Right?
So, realistically, when you wake up tomorrow and maybe you see Cody Bellinger come through that door, do you automatically put the Cubs as clear-cut division favorites just with this one signing?
Yeah, probably.
Not that I was hesitating, but I was going to say I don't. Yeah, because I don't think there was a really clear favorite going into, obviously prior to the last hour. I really don't. You could have told me the Reds were going to win the division, and I would have been okay. I could see that. Could have told me the Cardinals were going to win the division. I could have seen that. You honestly could have told me the Cubs were going to win the division prior to a Cody Bellinger signing, and I said, okay, I can see a scenario where that happens. So I don't think there was a clear favorite prior. I think. I can totally see that if you want to say Cody Bellinger helps the Cubs, or adding Cody Bellinger to the Cubs the lineup defensively, makes them the favorite to win the division. I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I totally see that. I think that's what we've talked about, right? Like this division is fairly wide open, right? Like I don't expect the Cardinals to stay down forever or even more than the 1 year they did last year. The Reds are coming up. They have a lot of good young players and a lot of good young talent that are coming up. Pirates honestly are coming up too. Like I don't know how good they'll be this year, but they have talent on that team and in that organization. And the Brewers, you never really know what you're going to get with them after so many years of them just being there and honestly beating the Cubs. Like they can't be counted out either. So I look at it as not a lot of when I look at it as like the whoever was going to finish first, I didn't think they were going to finish that far ahead of whoever was going to finish fifth in this division going into it. And now the Cubs reportedly signing Cody Bellinger. I look at it as like, yeah.
Wait, hold on. Not reportedly. He signed, Ryan. No, let's make it crystal clear.
Tweeted it, Ryan.
Hassan tweeted it. He is signed on this team.
Anyway, looking at a Cubs lineup with Cody Bellinger in it, yeah, I could totally say, if you want to say they're the favorites to win the division now, I would not disagree with that. I don't think. I would say it's going to help them, and it's not just adding a new guy, right? Again, as I said earlier, it's adding a guy you had developed a year-long relationship with. You know him as a person, you know him as a player. He knows this organization. He knows how everything works. I mean, obviously, Craig Counsell changes things a little bit, but just adding Cody Bellinger is not just like adding any other free agent. Like you're adding a guy that you have a full year's worth of information on, a full year's worth of data, and a full year's worth of a built rapport with. And so, I look at it, and you want to call them the division favorites right now with just by adding Cody Bellinger. Like I won't sit here and stop you because I don't think that's false.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Brendan.
Well, I was going to read our super chat here from our good friend Ryan Lambert. And he said, Belly walking on the field in his freshly pressed see-through fanatic Cubs uni. Gotta love it. That is going to be a scene. Absolutely going to be a scene. The ladies
for sure will love that.
Absolutely. So, Cody, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say that, like, I agree with Ryan that even before they signed him, like I know if they didn't sign him that on opening day, we would have done our live show wherever it was going to be. And I would have got in front, I would have put the headset on, and I would have been like, we're winning 87, 88 games this year, guys. Well, I would have talked it's what I do. I'm drunk on Delulu all the damn time. All right. I would have done it. All right. But even if they didn't, as much as I would have done that, the reason I would have talked myself into it is because I do believe in a lot of the young guys. I do believe that Jameson Taillon will bounce back. I do believe that Justin Steele is, like last year, wasn't just some random year. I believe a lot of things in this roster, and I just feel like Bellinger it brings back like the leadership factor that like the players, Jed, like everyone has said about him. A proven guy, a guy that has experience, a guy who has won, and a guy that has a lot to prove, because it's, even though he got this paycheck.
Yeah.
I mean,
motivation's high. He wants that second paycheck.
Right. Like he still wants that long-term deal, or else he doesn't take this deal. Right. So like he has something to play for, and it just adds more depth to this offense. And I think the one thing that I already had that I was optimistic in was the pitching. I do think the Cubs have the pitching, and so now the offense is a little bit better. I was already high on the pitching, so I would have talked myself into it just because of the pitching alone and some of the young guys and how high I am on them. But now when you add him, like I assume Fangraphs is only going to add like maybe two, 3 wins to their projection. But that's like 83. Last year they were projected at 78 and they won 83, right? So at 83, maybe they can win 88, 89. Maybe if you add Montgomery or you add Chapman, and maybe it adds more to it, right? But even if it's not them, and maybe they add a reliever, or something. Maybe, I don't know. But all I know is that the projections not only do they not fully tell the full story, but it's better seeing a few more wins on there than just like 80. Like I don't know. Like maybe I'm not explaining it well enough in my own delusional head. But
no, I mean, I think with the high volume of potential contributors on this Cubs roster, an 83 win projection, which is likely going to be what happens when you refresh Fangraphs tomorrow, may look different than an 83 win projection from a different team on a different in a different division. And the reason is when these projections are being made, you're trying to forecast different playing time and try to forecast a different plate appearance samples. So for the Cubs right now, you see a wide range of possibilities on some of their bench guys. We could see Bush get 250 at bats. We could see Bush get 500 at bats. We could see Matt Shaw get 0 at bats. We could see Matt Shaw get 250 at bats if he gets called up. So those projections don't naturally factor that in, but also projections are just, they suck. Like they really do suck. And that's not to diss them. They're informative. They provide a stake in the ground and a ruler to measure teams against. But when you look at how many teams miss the projections at year's end, they typically 10 of 30 teams typically miss their projection by 14 wins. That is an unacceptable degree of error when you try to predict outcomes. That's why I've always said to shrink down that randomness. Let's try to project around 95 wins. That way, worst case scenario, you're still hanging out around 80-ish wins or so, and you may have a playoff opportunity. That's the territory of the Braves and Dodgers and the Astros. And currently now you see with the Orioles, Cubs are not there yet. So even though with 83 wins, it looks better, there's definitely a situation where they can reach 90 now. That's not crazy. In my mind, still not enough, but I'm delusional. I will wake up tomorrow morning and I'm going to sell myself into this. And by opening day, I'm going to be projecting 90 wins. That's just what's going to happen. Even though I recognize the other side of my brain says, don't do that, but I will do that.
Hell yeah. Craig says 92. So he said, hold my beer, Brendan. I'll be more delusional.
Look at that. Well, you know what, Craig? I might be 92 as well. I may have to one-up you on the projection and the delusion.
Tanya also has a good comment, and this is pro for like what you're saying, is that they should have won 90 last year. So,
yeah,
I think
absolutely
with the council effect, as much as like I don't try to use that as much, but the council effect will really, I think, be a big factor. We talk about those one-run games. Maybe he is the difference. Maybe
Well, the front office thinks he's a difference. Right. Paying him that much money, letting David Roster go.
They better be right about it. That's all I
They better be right about that. I think the argument that council could provide an additional maximum fringe wins of 5 is really not that crazy to think about. You look at the example in late August and early September. If the bullpen just had a good 2 weeks, a healthy 2 weeks, maybe weren't overused, and not to say that Ross did an awful job, but council is the best at managing bullpens, then maybe you attenuate some of that fatigue that we experience, and they would have won an extra 2-3 games. And that would have been the difference between the Diamondbacks making the World Series and the Cubs making the playoffs. It's just those fringe wins that council is a difference maker with.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got here? We're going to sign off here as we're 55 minutes in. We got some more comments here. Ryan, how excited are you? I know we woke you up from your beauty sleep over there, but you got the light on right now, which, by the way, is the worst thing you can do. That's going to stimulate your brain to start producing hormones to stay up even longer. I'm sorry, you're going to get no sleep tomorrow. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry, you're going to have to be next to Cody tomorrow as well all day in his smile. Cody, I'm happy for you. You may not sleep the entire night.
Well, I'm actually very tired considering how the long days that we've had. But, at least there's going to be a lot of talk tomorrow. I can't wait to go to, the tailgates before the game and talk to the people.
So is the game at Sloan Park tomorrow?
Yeah.
It is at Sloan.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can already see there's going to be a pretty massive crowd. Yeah. Pre-game, like during the workouts, trying to catch a glimpse to see if Cody Bellinger will walk into that Cubs training complex
He
tomorrow.
lives right here in Arizona, right? I don't know where in Arizona, but somewhere around here.
He grew up in Scottsdale, you know.
Okay, grew up in Scottsdale, like somewhere around here. But yeah, no, it wouldn't take him it wouldn't take him too long to drive over to the complex tomorrow. So yeah, guarantee there's going to be a large gathering of Cubs fans hoping to catch a glimpse of Cody Bellinger.
Well, it's up to you to get that first video.
I will say I was hoping it would be the Dexter Fowler part 2. Like I was like, it would have been great if that's what happened, because I was going to be ready to catch it on camera. I was going to be the one to catch it on camera and post it on social and go viral.
Yeah.
Instead,
you're talking to Cody and me at 3 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good consolation. What are you talking about?
This isn't a consolation. Come on.
That's true. You're right, Cody. This is actually the preference. So
this is what Ryan actually prefers.
Yeah. Credit to you and I for fulfilling Ryan's dreams.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, Luke Stuckmeyer was wrong.
He wasn't wrong. He wasn't.
In your time, in his time, he was.
Yeah, but in my time, he was right. So I agree with Luke. He was right.
No, wrong.
Now,
don't let him have it. Don't let him have it, Brendan.
No, he deserves it. He deserves it. I'm going to give him. He's going to win the first Who You Got, no matter who he picks.
He's going to wake up tomorrow to like his screaming kid, one of the two, or maybe both, and then eventually look at his phone and be like, "Oh shit, it happened," and he's going to be like, "Whoa, they did a podcast in it." Because again, tomorrow is what, Sunday? Yeah, tomorrow's Sunday.
Yeah.
So and he knows we don't have a show or anything. The first thing he does is not gonna be look at Twitter or look at Slack. That's not the first thing he's gonna do. So he's eventually gonna log onto the internet and realize it. But it'll be like at 10 a.m. or something like that.
No, he's gonna wake up at 3 a.m. or not 3 a.m. He's gonna wake up 3 hours from now, watch the sunrise, do what older people do in the morning, have some coffee, read the newspaper, which the newspaper won't have the Cody Bellinger news, obviously, because the paper will be coming out by now.
But CHGO will, because you're going to be writing that article after you sign off here now.
Oh yeah, I will. But that's what I'm saying. Is like he'll be doing the old school stuff, and then as Cody said, probably like 10 o'clock, so like 4 or 5 hours after he's already woken up, he'll check his phone and he'll see the news, and then he'll have come up to speed.
All right, let's sign off here. Again, thank you to our sponsor, Blue Moon, for providing us the venue to do this so late. Thank you to the chat. We got 450 people right now at 3 a.m. talking to us. Appreciate you guys for the support. Really, it does make a difference for us and outreach, and it's enjoyable for all of us to talk with you guys here in this chat. I guess go get some sleep. Ryan, you got more work to do to finish up your article. Cody, you're off the hook, man. Go get some Blue Moon. Enjoy the rest of your night. You're in Gila River Casino right now. Great casino. Maybe go play some blackjack over there.
I might go throw it all on red or green or something, and just ride the wave.
There we go. Just ride that dopamine surge all the way through the nights.
You know what you gotta do? You gotta go throw all your money on number 24 on roulette.
Oh,
now you're getting a little crazy. Maybe Ryan can meet you downstairs and you both can do that together,
That'd actually be really good content.
Actually would be good content. I'm actually kind of tempted to tell you just to go do it regardless.
I might go do it regardless now.
But could you imagine if it hit?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That would be electric.
I would be crazy. Go through. There would be no wall somewhere. There would be a man-sized hole in the wall somewhere.
Oh my gosh! All right. Well, I guess you guys have a show on Monday. So you'll be back on Monday. Luke will be on with you guys. And again, thank you for everyone tuning in this late at night. And listen, if the Cubs make any more signings, I'm up. Ryan may be sleeping. I'll call Cody. I'll do this again in 2 more hours for Matt Chapman or Blake Snow or whomever the Cubs want to sign. So again, thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you on Monday or another late free agent signing. And as always, go Cubs.
We all silly like the mayor.